Yo, my name's Carrington and today I'm going to be showing you the steps I took to get my homemade music video from this to this without the use of a green screen. Let's do it. Step 1, make a DIY black background. This is an old bedsheet that I found in the cupboard. As you can see, one side of the bedsheet is on top of the wardrobe, weighed down with a 2.5 kilogram weight. We have a weights bench in the garden, so that was easy. And then the other side is actually tied onto the top of a fully extended microphone stand. Musicians, you'll have a few of those knocking about, I'm sure. There she is. Next, you want to get a stool or a chair, preferably in black if you're going to be playing a guitar. Remember, the chair can't have any arms because they'll get in the way. So a stool like this is ideal. And you place your stool roughly in the center of the black sheet, okay? Also, it's helpful to make sure that your sheet doesn't have that many creases. Now, I know this isn't a perfect example, but this is the best that I could kind of get. But having no creases will help you out a little bit with the lighting when it comes to post-production. Step 2, set up your camera an adequate distance away from and central to your stool. So this is what it looks like from the stool I'm sat on. As you can see, I am dead center of the image. Now, it's worth noting that when I filmed this, I did it with the Canon 77D, which is the camera I'm holding now. Obviously, to give you guys an example, I can't both film with that camera and use it as the example, if you get my drift. I know a lot of people will also be doing this on a budget, so if you do try this with a phone, let me know how it goes. Step 3, lighting. In order to film my face, I've got one light either side of my phone and they're angled inward slightly to light up either side of my face. You're going to have to make some fine adjustments though. But before you do, you're going to have to turn off all other light sources. So this is getting a little bit closer to the effect that we want now. I've already adjusted the height and the zoom of my camera to get my head in the right place within the frame. You want to make sure that you've got appropriate height at the top. A good test for that is to just put your hand above your head just to see if there is appropriate height. And if you can see that in the viewfinder, which I'm looking at now, that's a good starting point for that. And then you can put your hand below. There we go. And you want a nice round bit here as well. That's going to look better in post-production. However, we're not quite done here. First thing I got to do is ditch the hat. And the next thing I got to do is make sure that I'm wearing all black. And the reason that we do this is because we want to make sure that the black of our clothes blends into the black of the background here. That's going to make things a lot easier in post-production. Also, you want to make sure that you've got long sleeves if possible, because when we come to film the guitars, we don't want the whole of our arm showing. I mean, it's a creative decision, so maybe you do want the whole of your arm showing, but personally, I thought it looked a bit better if it was just my hands. Step 4, mime your vocals in their entirety. But a little bit more to it than that. What you've got to make sure is that you don't move your head around too much. If you're swinging left and right, that's going to kind of take its toll in post-production. You're going to find it very difficult to manage that. So yeah, try and keep your head quite central. Obviously, do the usual facial expressions, but yeah, head dead center. Then you are, of course, ready to mime your guitar part. Now, I've obviously adjusted the height of the camera and I've obviously adjusted the zoom of the camera to suit the position that I'm in. I've also adjusted the lighting. I've got one light just to my left here and one light just to my right here. These are Neewer lights and they are set at 35. I'll post a link in the description to the lights that I actually use. You'll also notice that the angle of the guitar is angled with the headstock slightly towards the camera, as opposed to having it flat like that, which I don't think really works. You could also try this way with the body towards the camera. I guess it really depends on the song and how much of the neck you use. This particular song I use quite a lot of the lower part of the neck with my fretting hand, so I want the attention to kind of be over here. So that was the reason I made that decision. Then all you got to do is film it and move on to the edit. So here we are in Sony Vegas, my editing software. This isn't going to be a tutorial on how to use Sony Vegas. I'm just going to explain the concept of what I'm doing because you might be using Final Cut or Adobe and such. So basically, as you can see, right here where my face is, I've arranged my face so that it's center in the top of the screen because that's where I wanted it, and my guitar's at the bottom of the screen, left and right. Okay, so you need to do that first. You need to arrange your windows within your software to put your instruments and your head wherever you want it. The next thing you need to do is get rid of the background, and I'm going to give you an example of how I did that with my head. Okay, so as you can see, it looks like a fairly decent image, but the background is still coming through, and we don't want that background. So the first thing you're going to do is create a vignette around the head. Doink. Alright, so that sorts out the problem mostly, but we've still got a little bit of light showing through. This is where you have to play about with your brightness and contrast. Doink. Alright, you'll notice that as I bring the contrast down, you'll see the background starting to appear again. And the same applies to the brightness. If I bring the brightness back up to normal levels, the background starts to appear again. So what's actually happened is because I've shot the original footage with enough light on the subject, being my face, and less light on the background, it's cancelling out the light shone on the background before it's actually cancelling out my face, and that's how we get this kind of effect. And of course, like anything, it's going to take some playing around. So what I actually recommend you do is, while you're filming it, I would set up your lights how you think it's going to look good, and then import a short piece of footage into your software, play about with the brightness and contrast, see if you can get the effect we've talked about, and then if you're not happy with it, you have a good idea of where to start with making changes to that. So yeah, trial and error, definitely. And that is about it. So thank you for watching. Any more questions, stick them in the comments. See you later.